The brand new Call of Duty Mobile Season 2 update just dropped, so I'm going to be giving you guys the top 7 best guns to use in COD Mobile right now. Before we do go over our top 5 weapons for this season, we're going to be going over our 2 honorable mentions, and for our first honorable mention, we do have the XM4. Now in this new season, the XM4 actually did get a few buffs, mainly towards the visual aspect of the weapon and the recoil itself, so both the vertical and the horizontal recoil have been buffed to the point where it's easier to control the weapon. All you gotta do is pull down, and aside from that, the visual aspect of the weapon buff is the fact that when you are shooting the weapon, the overall gun does not get in the way anymore as it once did, so they are both very good in my opinion. Now, from 5 to 20 meters, the XM4 has the ability to 3-shot in the head, which does 42 per bullet, and then to the chest, it does 30, which means that it is a 4-tap to the body. Anything more than 30 plus meters, it does become a 4-tap to the head and a 5-tap to the body, so just make sure you guys are aware of that. The mobility and overall time to kill for this weapon is more like a Type 19 plus SMG mixed into one, so that is one of the good things about this weapon because it allows you to play both close range and long range battles with an AR. For our last and final honorable mention, we of course have the BP50, which may be a surprising one to you for you guys. Now, don't get me wrong, the BP50 is still viable, but unfortunately in Season 11, they decided to nerf this gun with not only its damage range, but the hitbox itself. Because of that, the weapon has dropped down in its ranking, but it is still very good to use. The weapon itself still has one of the fastest fire rates in CODM and one of the fastest time to kills in the game as well. On top of all of that, it has one of the easiest recoil patterns in the game because all you really have to do is pull down because it has a slight horizontal recoil alongside with a lot of vertical recoil. The only downside of this weapon is the fact that it has a super massive damage drop-off, which means from 5 to 10 meters, this weapon can be a 4 to 5 shot. Even in the head, it is a 4 shot, but anything onwards from 20 to 40 meters, it does become a little bit harder and it does take a lot more to kill. But like I mentioned, the weapon itself does have a fast fire rate, so you can't really feel it when you do start shooting this thing. And with that being said, we're going to be going over to our official top 5 list for this season. Up at number 5 in the official start to our top 5 weapons list, we do have the Argus. Now the special thing about the Argus is 3 things. The first one is that it has infinite range, which means it can compete and kill anyone from close to medium to long range. The second thing is the fact that it's mixed into a sniper rifle, a shotgun, and a marksman rifle combined into one. And the last and final thing is the fact that this weapon is so good to the point where it got banned in competitive. Now, the only downside I see with this weapon is the fact that it does have a skill gap in terms of being super accurate and making sure your aim is on point, because it basically gives you that feel of having a slug shot on the BY-15. But aside from that, the mobility is great, the hipfire is great, and it did get a few buffs for this season. Up on number 4, we basically have the big brother weapon of the SKS, and it is none other than the Type 63. Both of these guns are very similar in some ways, but they're also different. The Type 63 has a faster fire rate and it has less aim shake in my opinion. Now, the special thing about both of these weapons is the fact that it has a 1-shot potential at any range, no matter if it's 5, 10, 15, 20, or even more than 50. The mobility, however, is quite slow, so I would definitely watch out for that. But on the other side of things, when it comes down to recoil and aim shake, it is basically non-existent, as you guys can see right here. There isn't much else to say about this weapon, but it is definitely a fun weapon to use if you guys are very accurate. Up on number 3, we of course have one of the best ARs out in the game right now, and it is the HVK. Now, there is something special about the HVK because the HVK is one of the few ARs that has a 2-tap potential among others. From the 5 to 10 meter mark, it has a 2-tap potential to the head and a 3-tap potential to the body. Anything after 10 meters, it does drop down to a 3-tap potential to the head and 4 or more shots to the body. Now, when it comes to the overall range of this weapon, this is one of those ARs that can be used in any range, no matter what it may be or what weapon you're going up against. But the only downside is the fact that this is definitely one of the slower fire rate weapons in the game. Now, I know what you guys might be thinking, a weapon this good, there's no way that the recoil is easy to use. Well, unfortunately, the recoil is super duper easy to control. As you guys can see, all you really have to do is pull down, just like many of the other guns that CODM has to offer. So in general, this weapon is pretty easy to use. Coming in at number 2, we have the king of all ARs, the king of all long to mid range battles and even some close encounters, and it is of course going to be the Odin. Now, the Odin is in a similar boat like the HVK because the HVK and Odin are one of the few ARs that have a 2-tap potential. But there's a twist. At 5 meters, the Odin has a 2-tap potential to the head and 2 to 3 shots at the upper body and the lower chest. At 10 meters, it is the same. 2 taps to the body, 2 to 3 shots to the upper body and chest. 20 meters, it is once again going to be the same. 30 meters, it is once again going to be the same. And at 40 meters and onwards, it is once again going to be the exact same. Now, the cool but also very broken part about this is the fact that because of the fact that it has no damage drop off whatsoever, it has infinite range, it has the ability to work on maps that are close range such as Summit and Standoff, mid-range maps like Raid, and long-range maps like Firing Range. So all around, this weapon has great time to kill, no recoil whatsoever, no damage drop whatsoever, a 2-tap potential, and all around it can be good at close range, mid-range, and long range. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I am expecting this weapon to get nerfed at some point because it has been a meta weapon for a while now, but keep your eyes peeled on the future patch notes to see if that does occur. Now, coming in at number 1, our official number 1 weapon for the brand new Call of Duty Mobile update, it is going to be none other than the USS-9. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is probably one of the most obvious things ever because this is by far one of the most broken weapons ever to have touched CODM. It has a 2-tap potential as an SMG from 5 to 20 meters. Outside of that, it is basically a 3-shot weapon. An SMG being that broken is completely insane. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I do expect a nerf for this weapon very, very, very soon, but for now, you guys should just continue to abuse this, continue to have fun with it, because I'm not gonna lie, this is an SMG main player's dream. I'd be lying if I were to say that I've not been enjoying this meta, because I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the first few seasons recently that have been very dominant towards SMG players. But outside of that, that is going to be the official top 5 list for the top 5 best guns for this season. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, or if you guys have any different weapons that you guys think should have made this list, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.